The deals just don't stop for WWE's parent company, TKO, as they just secured a brand new 7-year, $7.7 billion exclusive deal to have UFC events stream on Paramount Plus. This news comes just under a week after WWE announced their own deal with ESPN that is set to have all WWE PLEs on that platform. We now are learning that ESPN and Fox are bundling their platforms, and I'm sure you're all asking yourselves, what the hell does this all mean for WWE and their future? Well, I am going to tell you how this deal and the series of deals altogether that WWE have made are going to completely change the way that you, the fans, are going to experience WWE moving forward. All that and much more coming up right here in this video. I'm Omer Q. Let's talk about it. Be sure to smash that thumbs up, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. As I said before, the deal was announced today. Breaking news, UFC agreed to a 7-year, $7.7 billion exclusive US media rights deal with Paramount beginning in 2026. All UFC events will stream on Paramount Plus with select events airing on CBS. So this showing that UFC seems to be cannibalizing their pay-per-view model. What that means is essentially they're doing what WWE did a couple of years ago with the WWE Network and getting rid of pay-per-views completely. And if you are wondering whether or not that is confirmed, well, we did get a press release that dove deep into all of this. This is courtesy of TKO, UFC, and Paramount. Starting in 2026, Paramount will exclusively distribute UFC full slate of 13 marquee numbered events and 30 fight nights via its direct-to-consumer streaming platform, Paramount Plus, with select numbered events to be simulcast on CBS, Paramount's leading broadcast network. As part of the agreement, UFC and Paramount will move away from UFC's existing pay-per-view model in favor of making these premium events available at no additional cost to the expansive US subscriber base of Paramount Plus. This shift in distribution strategy will unlock greater accessibility and discoverability for sports fans and provide an important catalyst for driving engagement and furthering subscriber growth for Paramount Plus. All the other jazz that you probably don't need to know, confirmed there. Pay-per-views for UFCs are done, and this has been a complaint that many fans have had over the past couple of years. UFC events, despite the fact that the star power has diminished compared to where we were in 2016, despite the fact that UFC does not do as good a job at matchmaking as they once did, and Dana White is probably, as a UFC real-life booker, kind of cooked. They have not been doing well, and you have seen that reflected in the pay-per-view buys. Overall, they are down compared to where they were. So for UFC, if they were going to cannibalize their pay-per-view models, they would need a big deal. And cannibalizing the pay-per-view models, for those who may not be aware, is the act of essentially doing what WWE did with the network, which is saying, we're going from charging $50 per pay-per-view to included with a streaming deal that's going to give you a whole bunch of other stuff. And $7.7 billion, put into perspective, WWE just signed a massive deal with ESPN, and that got them only $1.6 billion over a span of 5 years. So that deal that UFC just got is literally over $1 billion per year, cementing itself as TKO's premier entity and also demonstrating that there is now a world where we are going to be paying for all of these streaming networks every single month. We might not have cable, but streaming seems to be the new cable. That's how expensive all of this is going to be. And if you're looking at it, if you're a WWE fan, you're planning on spending $30 a month on ESPN. You're going to be spending probably between $20 to $30 a month on Netflix. And you're also going to be spending right around that number, 20 to 30, potentially on Paramount Plus. That is a whole lot of money just to spend to be a fan of pro wrestling. And that is the unfortunate state of how these deals are being made. And for WWE and UFC, obviously the thing is going to be, well, you're kind of getting this on a deal now, at least the UFC events, because before they were like 80, 90, over $100 per event, depending on what degree you were being charged for. So that is going to be the spin there for them. We also have a comment from UFC president Dana White. This historic deal with Paramount and CBS is incredible for UFC fans and our athletes. For the first time ever, fans in the US will have access to all UFC content without a pay-per-view model, making it more affordable and accessible to view the greatest fights on a massive platform. This deal puts UFC amongst the biggest sports in the world. The exposure provided by Paramount and CBS networks under this new structure is a huge win for our athletes and anyone who watches and loves the sport. So obviously they're touting this as a major blockbuster deal. And, you know, to further kind of emphasize what this means, if you are a WWE fan, I'm sure you're wondering, well, okay, UFC, I may not watch, or I may watch every now and then. Why does this matter to me? The reason it matters is because, number one, this means that UFC is going to be in partnership with Paramount. I think there's going to be some cross exposure there. And because of that, and the fact that TKO owns both WWE and UFC, I think there's going to be some cross exposure potentially with WWE stars on UFC, which would mean that you would have the WWE brand essentially, at least in some way, whether it's people walking out with fighters at these big events or people in the crowd. There's going to be more and more of that. And I think because of the amount of money, I think you're going to see a lot more UFC fighters attending WWE shows, vice versa. There's going to be a lot more integration, and that is part of this larger plan. When TKO bought WWE a couple of years ago, it was done with the understanding that they were going to try to merge as much of the audience as possible. And I think right now they have the catalyst, they have the money, they have the power to do all of that. And on top of it all, I think now TKO, the company that bought WWE and merged it with UFC on a $9 billion valuation, taking this $7.7 billion deal into account, taking the other major deals that they have made internationally for WWE and in the US, I think they have bought themselves some breathing room from all of the speculation of debt, all of the speculation of where their business stands, and all of the speculation of what it means for how much they can or can't invest in their products. And you combine that with the fact that WWE is at an all-time high as far as revenue. UFC is very much in a similar boat. I think right now, they are about to do some things that are going to completely change the way we view WWE. I think now is when they begin to invest even more into the WWE universe kind of stuff. I think you're going to see WWE films based off of specific characters. It would not surprise me if you saw like an Undertaker film. I think there's going to be cross promotion. I think there's a lot of things that are in the works right now over there in TKO, and it is going to be a wild time. And one person to keep an eye on over the next couple of months, by the way, is Nick Khan. So Nick Khan, he's the guy who usually makes these deals. He came into WWE right before the pandemic and was a key figure in securing that Fox deal that they had back in 2019. He has basically done everything there is to do in the world of combat sports and wrestling. He's secured all of these deals. He's made them a boatload of money, and he's gotten really rich off of doing it. And I think Nick Khan is someone who's known to come into these different spheres, conquer, and then leave. It would not surprise me if in a couple of years, Nick Khan leaves. It would not surprise me if he goes and conquers something else, whether it's in entertainment, whether it's in business. I think that is a move and a person to keep an eye on. But obviously, you guys, I want to hear your opinions. I'm sure you have thoughts about this. I'm sure you have thoughts about why you think this is a good or bad deal. Personally, I wasn't planning on watching UFC shows anyway because, quite frankly, they're just not the juggernaut that they once were. But I want to hear from y'all. Are you looking forward to this deal? Are you going to buy Peacock or Premium, whatever, Paramount. That's what it is. Are you going to buy Paramount Plus? Let me know in the comment section below. Also, be sure to smash that thumbs up, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Until next time, keep it real.